Y'all niggas got me hot. Yeah.
Now,
God willing.
on a bright, actually, it's not even a brighter note. On another topic, spoiler alert. I repeat again, spoiler alert. If you ain't seen Joker, please come off the video. Click away. I'm giving you time. Please come off the video.
What?
Wait.
Oh, so they can come off the video.
That's enough time.
That's
Say no
yeah,
more, say
I
no
was thinking,
more.
yeah, okay, cool. Let's talk about Joker. This movie,
Great
Boom.
movie. In my opinion, people that know me know that I am not with the MCU. I'm not with the Marvel universe.
Excuse me?
Superhero nonsense.
Same, bro. Hey, bro, same.
Hey, you man are
don't really care
bugging,
too
fam.
tough. Don't really care too tough. I like it, but I don't
the
really
cool
care too tough.
effects. I like the CGI, but I'm not with the Marvel stuff.
you don't stand with the
DC
goats.
for me is where it's at.
Since when?
Since always, bro.
That's how you are.
Since always.
So you like the
I didn't
new,
care
so you like
for
the
Endgame.
Batman
I
and
didn't
that.
care for Avengers.
Not even Infinity War.
None of that.
Oh, come on, you're
It's
bugging.
cool.
It's
I like
okay,
the
it's
story,
okay,
and
it's
that's where it
I
ends for
don't
me.
care for me. I like DC because of how close it is to reality. I like DC because of how serious their storylines are.
There's a,
The narratives. The Dark Knight.
Yeah, that's a
Give me
serious
a
thing.
better film
that,
that's from
I'm
Marvel.
just saying with DC.
Anyways, back to my original point. Let me drag it back.
DC over Marvel.
Let me fish it back. Anyways,
I don't agree, but anyway, we're about Joker.
Joker
Wow.
has reinstated why I love DC. Love it. Storyline was great. Theme was great.
See, DC is really good at what they call it, their character development. That's what they are. And they're really good at telling a story. That's what I like about them. That's why I like their villain movies better. But like the other movies like Batman versus Superman, all that trash, I don't like that nonsense.
Yeah, let's skip past
But
that.
it's like Joker and like even Suicide Squad I liked, but a lot of people didn't like it as well. So.
Nah,
Quite liked it. I thought it was like.
nah, for
You
me,
didn't like Suicide Squad?
It was okay.
nah, it was meaty for me. That was meaty. But the thing I liked about the Joker was that how it was a real character dissection, how it really explored what makes a guy become the Joker. And you know what I've deeped? I've been doing a lot of thinking about the movie. The Joker and Arthur are two different characters. And I think it's not even a theory. I think Arthur, the character known as Arthur, Arthur Fleck dies. Arthur Fleck metaphorically dies. Metaphorically dies in the sense that Arthur Fleck gets everything taken away from him. He gets his job taken away from him, which provides him with a sense of purpose in life. He gets his identity taken away from him when he finds out his whole upbringing is a lie.
Yeah.
He gets his romance, like he gets his need for romance taken away from him when he finds out everything that he thought he had with this one particular girl was a lie. So Arthur Fleck for me dies when he kills his mother. And Arthur Fleck's whole character arc is about seeking validation from others. Everything he does is to fit in, is to assimilate. When we see him dreaming about going on stage with Murray, it's all about he wants to be validated. He wants, even him being a stand-up comedian, that career is designed to seek validation. And the difference between Arthur and the Joker doesn't seek validation. He gets it, but he doesn't seek it. Yes. The Joker, he gets at the end when everyone's applauding him and clapping him, but he doesn't seek it. Everything the Joker does is for his own benefit.
But don't you think that's like, what do you call it? This whole movie shows is that it's really inspirational. So what I can say is that, what do you call it? The whole movie is basically that he wanted to seek validation from other people. He wanted to like go against his mum's words, how she was saying that he's not funny and that stuff. And then he became funny. And then now that he's a Joker, he doesn't need to seek validation anymore. So it's basically saying that, what do you call it? You go from a person always looking to other people for approval and stuff like that, and you finally find yourself and know that, yeah, I don't need anybody else's approval to be who I am.
But bro, you know what? I feel like he never stops seeking validation from other people, even when he becomes a Joker.
Do you think?
Yeah, because end of the day, if you want to break down how people think that psychologically, why do people kind of do bad stuff? Why do people kind of want to break down society? Because whether you're seeking validation from people or whether you're trying to get a point across and everything we do is perpetuating an agenda, innit? Because we want to perpetuate an agenda. We want to put our feelings on society. Everybody, like, no matter what, no matter to what extent, everybody wants to perpetuate their feelings on society. Like, there's no doubt about that. So I feel like that's kind of like the ongoing theme with Arthur and the Joker. That's where they remain the same character. That's why, because I feel like, because we all knew at the start of the movie that Arthur is the Joker.
Yeah, we all knew.
Like, obviously, everybody knows. But I feel like there's not as much difference as we kind of think.
I think
feel
there's.
like it's
I think
still
they're
the same guy.
No, I feel like they come from the same place. Of course, without Arthur, there is no Joker. They come from the same place, and a lot of the motivations that made Joker came from Arthur. But even in the way they carry themselves and their demeanor, it's like, for me, like, Arthur was somebody trying to fit into the world. Joker is someone who doesn't care about the world. He wants to fit. The only opinion that Joker cares about is himself. He doesn't, even at the end here, where he's in the psychiatric ward and the woman, and he's laughing, the woman's asking, what's funny? You wouldn't get it. He's telling you wouldn't get it. The joke's not for you to get. If I'm laughing, it don't matter. If I'm the one who finds it funny, it doesn't matter. I don't care about what the world thinks of me. And it's almost, he's free. He's free and he's in control. He's in control. Even the scene where, you know, when he kills the guy that used to work with him, he kills the big guy and he locks the small guy in the room. The reason why that scene is so scary is because for the first time in the movie, we see Arthur have complete control over a situation. He has complete control whether this guy lives, whether the short guy lives or he dies. And because he has ultimate control, it's liberating for him. It's like, okay, this is who I am. This is what I'm meant to be. Arthur is dead. The Joker is alive. And the thing is, there's no point to return to Arthur because everything he knows about Arthur is dead. Everything attaching him to his previous life is gone. His mom's gone. His Murray's gone. His job's gone. Everything grounding him to a sense of reality is dead. He is now the Joker. And what I love about the movie is that the movie doesn't condone his actions. The movie just gives us the context to why he did these things. Arthur, even going back to the scene where he killed those guys on the subway. Yeah. When I first watched it, I was like, they deserve that. But when deep in it, I was like, nah. The first two did, but when he went and hunted down that third one, that was vindictive. That was malicious. Because that wasn't the first two were self-defense. He hunted him down, stalked over him, bang, bang. Then the part that sold it for me was when he was dancing in the toilet. When he was almost like, yes, this is beautiful, and he feels free. And then that's the part that was like, this is disturbing. And the seeds were always planted from the beginning. Even if you read his book, like, there were the normal jokes, then the dark jokes were in black. The jokes about killing yourself and death were in black. So that part of him always existed, and now that part of him has come to the surface and taken over. And yeah, I just think Joker is a beautiful character dissection. But yeah, I mean, anyone else like...
Yeah. It's good to look at it from that way. A lot of people say, oh, it's disturbing and whatnot, but just, if you look at it from the perspective of this is art and in some way simulates reality, look at it from that perspective and take away from it. You might learn something from it.
But yeah, I'm saying, fam, while I 100% agree that movie was like some sort, like, I didn't like necessarily have like an artistic trip or nothing, but it was just like... Yeah. That movie was like I love the way it went into depth and I love how artistic it was. But based on Liberation, I feel like it's too simplistic to say that the Joker's the liberated version of Arthur Fleck.
Of course, no.
I feel like it's way too simplistic. Yeah, because like, how can I say it? Basically, with the Joker becoming this sort of evil character, like, how do you know that's the liberated version of himself? Because whether you like it or not, like, a lot of our attitudes that come from where we come from, that come from home, innit? So obviously, but remember, a lot of his badness stems from badness because
the abuse he got as a child.
Yeah, the abuse he got. A lot of his sordid thoughts, like most of us, because I don't know if I'm speaking for myself, but I feel like a lot of people have like some sort of like weird outward thoughts, isn't it? Sometimes let me say that with caution, innit? But it's like they'll always come from within. They'll always come from your experiences. So I feel like it's not necessarily a liberated guy. I feel like it's just another form of his experiences that hasn't been showed. And I feel like I feel like even though there's no real like extended story that we've seen to like say that this will happen to the Joker after this long or after this long or after this long, like I feel like it's just like another layer of him showing how damaged he is. Like first you saw the introverted layer, now we're seeing like a more extroverted layer. But yeah, but touching on what was it about how good the storyline is and how like supervillains are shown, like how the dissection of a supervillain is really brought out. Like that's the thing about it I love so much in it, because like I've always been like ever since I was like a 6-year-old youth, I've always been rooting for supervillains. I love villains in it, like because I see myself more in villains than I do in any sort of Superman character in it.
Yeah.
So the fact that it shows like supervillains always have a reason for why they're supervillain. Every supervillain has a reason. Like, like it's like death. Like people are always acting upon their reasons to act in such a way. So a couple tweets that I saw that made me think like, yo, like I don't like them tweets, was when I'm seeing that people say, oh, why do they have to give the Joker a backstory? It ruins him being a supervillain. But yeah, with me, I don't like that, because it's just like, just because you have like a certain idea of
what the Joker is,
how it should be, how DC characters should be, so forth.
If you look at real life, people that we see as like, say, 21st century, 20th century villains, for example, everyone knows Adolf Hitler. Like, when you say that name, people instantly say, yeah, bad guy, everything. We know everything he did, and I condemn everything he did. But there's a reason.
There's an
why
origin.
He acted out. Yeah. If you really if you look for the human part of him, there's a reason why he acted out the way he did. He's not justified in what he ended up doing, but like Ashton said, everyone has a reason for why they do what they do.
Exactly.
Sometimes it just takes you to hear them out. Maybe that can stop it. Like, I don't think it was wrong to give Joker a backstory. I love it.
But fam, like you said, going on a slight tangent, yeah, like, because I'm a person that always says, obviously, some actions like you will condemn with my whole chest. I'll always condemn certain things with my whole chest, like talking about racism earlier. I'll always condemn that. But at the same time, I feel like everybody has a reason and a justification to do anything. Not that they should, but everybody's got their own justification for every single action they do. Their own reason for every single action they do. It's like, I'm trying to think of something like evil. Like, okay, so I'm from East London, yeah? So I know people, or not know people, but I know people that have gone to, let's say, ISIS, innit?
Ooh.
Yeah, do their thing there. Controversial topics, innit? But let me tell you, because I've seen these ISIS recruiters outside mosques, innit? Like, they all pounce on the youths that have, like, a lot of family issues that are already troubled. Yeah, family issues, already on the cusp of joining the gang, who have a lot of bad energy to kind of let out of them. Vulnerable kids. And then they kind of build them up to fit their agenda and become, I've said agenda so many times today, it's mad. But they'll build them up to eventually go and join Islamic State. Like, and that's how it works. You don't get the kids that are like on their deen, that are in Quran every day, like, because you're not going to get them like that. So it's like, I feel like if I saw something on the media that was like that, for example, when you're talking about kids joining ISIS, because you always see like how it's a bad thing, you always hear about Shamima Begum, because but I've realised not one time have they said why Shamima Begum was so impressionable to go in there to marry someone in Islamic State.
They don't idolise the cause, they just idolise the effect.
Exactly. So
and that always cause an effect.
Always cause and effect. Always. Whatever way you look at it, there's always cause and effect. Everybody does everything. I'm not a believer that everybody does anything for a reason as in fate, but everybody has a reason for doing everything. Yeah.
And
so yeah.
Let's go. Just going back to like Joker, I feel like
I was about to do that still.
Yeah, let's go. But it's like society had failed Arthur. Yeah. Society had failed him. Even going back to the lack of awareness for his mental condition. And the part that got me was like, you don't listen. Every day you ask me, do I have negative thoughts? I always have negative thoughts. And it's like the system and the woman, like even he was explaining what he was doing, the woman was like, I'm sorry, we have to cut funding. And he was explaining himself, but I need this and this and this. Where am I going to get my medication from?
And you know how she ended it with like, she kind of basically told him, just deal with it. Like, the world doesn't care for people like you and I, Arthur. Like, she just told him, like, just deal with it, firm it.
It's like...
It, just like we saw in Arthur, it was too much for him to handle it. It was too much for him to deal with it.
But yo, I feel like anybody that's been in a bad place in life, yeah, like a place where all your thoughts are spiraling downwards towards negativity, like I feel like that scene was like so mad because I don't think I can ever recall something in the movie being so reflective as that point where you feel down and out and where you feel like nobody, like nothing can help you, nobody can really do nothing for you. Everybody that you're kind of trying to let out any sort of emotion to is just kind of pushing it back or just push themselves onto you when giving their advice. I feel like that scene here was such a telling one. That's one of the like ones that, because when I watch movies, I forget everything. You know, I'm an idiot. But I feel like that's one of the telling ones that I remember so vividly because like I feel like so many of us have been in a situation where it's like everything's just bouncing off people. Like whatever we do, whatever we say, however we try to express, however we try to get problems out, nobody will ever kind of understand and listen. And so that scene was really for the sad boys out there, fam.
And
let's not forget, correct me if I'm wrong, guys, men have the highest rate of suicide.
By far.
Men have the highest rate of suicide. So even with that situation of like Ashton right now just said, like if you as a person, as an individual, are trying to speak and be open about something and no one's hearing you out, or like Arthur when he said, you don't listen to me, I'm coming to therapy every week and you don't listen to me. Literally, that's a true reality for a lot of people.
Because everything gets brushed under the carpet most of the time.
And
brushed until someone dead.
Especially for men.
And it's kind of like with Arthur's situation, it's kind of like the one thing that was not keeping him sane, but like keeping him stable was the fact that he thought he had somebody he loved in that girl. And when that he realized that all of that was fake, it's kind of like, again, he had nothing at that point. Remember, because even when he was going on Murray's show, he had nothing to live for. He was going to kill himself.
Yeah.
When his initial plan on Murray's show was to go bang, kill himself. He had nothing to live for.
He was rehearsing.
He was rehearsing to kill himself. But then when he got onto the show, and the conversation with him and Murray was brilliant because both of them are right in different ways. Arthur is right in the sense that people don't understand. Murray brought him onto the show to ridicule him. Murray brought him on the show to make not even an example, just to make a clown out of him. No pun intended. No pun intended.
You didn't have to do that, bro.
But it's like, Murray just put him on the show to make him look like a fool and to laugh at him and to big himself up. And Arthur was basically saying, like, you don't understand people like me. But Joker was saying, and like, for me, it's like the reason why I go back to the theory that Arthur's dead, it's almost like, this is like my English literature coming out, this all subtext and all this. For me, it's like Joker is like an embodiment of Arthur's rage. It's kind of like Arthur's dead, but a part of him lives on in the Joker. Because that Joker is saying that Arthur died. I exist because of what you did to Arthur. I exist because you killed Arthur, and this is what has come of it. Me, a being who doesn't care anymore, a being who's lost all will.
Pushed to the edge.
Exactly, a being who's lost all will to conform to your societal standards, because to him, there is no point in conforming to society. What has society done for him? What has society done to really benefit him or help him? So forget society. I'm living for me and me alone, and I'm exhibiting my free will. But where Murray was right was in the sense that you can't in life, like what Murray was trying to say was that you can't do this self-pitying thing. You can't. You have to persevere. And that's what Murray was saying, that you can't. Obviously, people are dealt bad hands in life, but it is your duty to kind of persevere. Again, that's ignorant coming from him, who's someone of privilege, who doesn't understand what Arthur's coming from. But at the same time, the idea of...
Maybe he does, but...
Again, but the notion to always persevere, to always move forward is something applicable to everyone. And that's not minimizing what people go through, but what choice do you have? It's kind of like you've got to persevere and transcend your circumstances. And another interesting point I noticed in the movie, again, this is like little subtleties. When Joker is born, the uncontrollable laugh stopped. Ever since the ever since
analysis.
ever since the face paint comes on, the uncontrollable, painful laughs stop. Every time he laughs because he wants to laugh. That's a division between him and Arthur, because Arthur used to laugh at moments where he was uncomfortable. Joker is completely comfortable. That's why he's in control of his laughs. Again, that's why for me, Joker and Arthur are two. They come from the same place. It's kind of like what's it called?
Jekyll and Hyde.
Yeah, exactly. Dr. Jekyll. Exactly. They're two different entities that maybe inhabit the same body, but they're two different things. And Joker is, and I love the fact, this is a little detail, but Gotham is presented as a well-established city in the movie. We, through comics and movies, we know that Gotham's a mess. When Batman comes in, Gotham's a mess. What happens at the end of the movie? Gotham becomes a what? A mess. So it's like, in this universe, did Joker make Gotham the way it is? And again, in his moment of not seeking validation, he's got the biggest validation he's ever received, because he created what Gotham is going to be, a dump. And again, when he shot those criminals, he didn't want to see.
Goosebumps, fam.
He didn't seek validation. But what happened from doing something that he genuinely wanted to do was that people started following him. They start when the scene where he's dancing in front of all those people, he didn't intend that to happen. He was acting purely on his self-interest, and what did he get? Everything.
The moment he dropped seeking validation.
The moment he dropped it, he got everything. But he does. At the same time, he doesn't want it.
Oh, he disagrees.
Devil's advocate again.
Okay, go on.
There was the Joker for me. Never dropped seeking validation. He just wanted to seek a different type of validation.
Go on. What?
Because look, the whole movie, you're seeing kind of the political debate. You're seeing Bruce Wayne's dad. What's his name again?
Thomas Wayne.
Thomas Wayne. Yeah. You're seeing him because, fam, some of the stuff he said in the movie was like politically, like if we're talking from a politics point of view, like wow, like when he was like, oh, poor people are just like you guys are just
clowns.
jealous, you guys are just clowns, innit? Yeah, he literally said that. So from there, because the whole movie is like so politically infused, I feel like the politics has a lot more to do with it than they kind of showed. That politics was such a big part of the narrative, innit? And I feel like he's gone from like seeking like just. I feel like a lot of us go through this stage like in our teenage years. You go from kind of seeking like general societal validation, what you see in school, what you see here, to like seeking validation from like a certain group, no matter how big or small the group is. You go from like rooting for a certain group, and I feel like the Joker went from not necessarily just being his own guy and not seeking any validation, but he went more to doing it for the little guy, doing it for the bad guy.
Okay. Well, we obviously have opposing views on this, but it's very interesting where you come from. What I say is that I agree that the validation changed, but again, the validation became more internal. I think for me, for him, it became more. As long as I find it funny, I don't care. And it's more like, I'm a quote Cat Williams here. I always use this quote. It's called self-esteem. Esteem of your mother bleeping self. Like, it's all about how you perceive yourself. And it became to the point where the Joker's like, I don't care. I don't like, I'm happy. And like on even other elements of the movie that I loved was what this does for Batman's universe, because as you can tell, I'm a big comic book fan. So what this does for Batman's universe is very interesting, because a lot of the time in Batman-related media, we see Thomas Wayne depicted as this philanthropist, this giver, this somebody who's just morally righteous. What this introduces elements of grey. Batman still has his reasons for becoming Batman, because the city itself turned against somebody who's doing good. But what happens is that what creates an interesting conflict between Joker and Batman now is that both of their perceptions of Thomas Wayne.
Yeah.
Both of their perceptions of Thomas Wayne are completely different. Thomas Wayne is, to the Joker, or not the Joker, to Arthur, white privilege. Rich guy, looks down on poor people, whatever. Bruce Wayne looks at Thomas Wayne as a father. Someone who instilled in him core values to which he holds to this day about helping people. So it creates it just adds another layer to the Joker and Batman dynamic for me. It just adds, okay, like these two, and Thomas Wayne created both of them in the sense. Not Thomas Wayne specifically, but Thomas Wayne had a hand in both of them because
Both of his perceptions.
both Joker and Batman had a hand in the creation of both Joker and Batman, because without the whole scandal without the whole Thomas Wayne comments about clowns, he wouldn't be dead.
But you know what I love about Thomas Wayne's role in this whole movie? Who's the director? Do you man know?
Todd Phillips.
Shout out man. But what I love about like Thomas Wayne's whole character is that even though he was being depicted as a bad guy, it was still so open to interpretation how you viewed him, because a lot of people, because it's a movie where mature people are going to be watching. People know that is almost like a psychological trip kind of when you're watching this movie. So everybody knew kind of what they were getting into, yeah. So it's people that are always going to be open to interpretation. Like majority of people, I would say a fair amount of people at least are going into the movie with quite an open mind. So the way they depicted Thomas Wayne's character here, I feel like is very good. Like it is very like detailed in the fact that the stuff he said, his political views were still so open to interpretation, because there's going to be like conservative people, sitting in the cinema thinking, you know what? He's right. What a good man. Like he's telling poor people, get your money up. And like he's telling them in a way that like, even though it's not pleasing to the ears, is sort of direct. What a guy. There's going to be a lot of people that in the movie are thinking, what a guy, even though they know the character's being depicted as so and so. Like, I feel like the art behind that character specifically, even though he didn't play the most vital part in the film, or he didn't get as much screen time, feel like, fam, he was such an influential character in the whole script. The way that they've changed the whole narrative of Thomas Wayne is so hard, so sick.
Yeah.
Like, there's some real about to swear, but still.
Let me go back to this MCU guy, fam. See the way that we're getting into depth with this. See the way that we can relate to this. This is why I love DC.
You can relate to be a psycho.
No, not psycho.
Low key though.
in Marvel's defense, I could do the same speech about Thanos, but we're not gonna get into it now. About Thanos is such a mentally complex character, and he's one of the best characters I've seen.
What was his reason?
Huh? What was Thanos' reason? Oh, please, this is a Joker review. I don't want to get into it.
What was his reason? Because I was still trying to figure that out.
What, Thanos? Thanos was basically...
Let's go.
Okay, Thanos was basically saw that the world was suffering from overpopulation. Overpopulation led to famine, led to death, led to starvation. So if you could half the population of the universe, people would be living in peace. And the thing is, he was validated by the same thing happened to his planet. He was proposing this theory of, okay, let's kill half of our race to save our planet. The politicians of his planet said, nah, that's psycho. What happened to his planet? His planet died. Everyone on the planet went extinct. Hey. You see the part where he's on Titan, where they're fighting Infinity War, where they're fighting on that planet. That's his planet. When they're fighting on Titan, and he's showing them this used to be a paradise. What happened when life wasn't regulated? So he's like, I'm the only person who has the will to regulate life. I'm doing this for the benefit of humanity. But again, this is a conversation.
Just to keep the tangent alive for 1 minute, bro. You're actually a G in it, like, because you realize the complexes like I do. Because this, like, I love the way it touches on like certain complexes, like inferiority and superiority complexes, because Thanos had he's got naturally like the maddest savior complex that you can see. Deep, how many people you know in life that really have like mad savior complexes, trying to save the world or trying to save an entire situation that will like come to their jeopardy, but for like the approval of themselves, so for the satisfaction of themselves, for the inner, so they feel good about themselves or other people.
Even in Endgame, when he saw he won, he was like, what did he say? I'm inevitable. He saw himself, when he saw himself in the future win, he was like, I did it. Like, I am, like, it's a God complex.
It's mad. He said, I'm inevitable.
I'm inevitable.
So he said, like, I know I was going to do this anyway.
Exactly. but
it's mad. I'm inevitable. Does he mean, like, what he done was inevitable?
No, he is inevitable. Because, like, when he was having a conversation with Gamora...
I'm trying to understand what I'm saying. Is that if he didn't do it, was someone else going to do it? Is that what's inevitable?
No. When he had the conversation with Gamora was like, when they were talking about how the planet needs how the universe needs correction and needs regulation. Gamora's like, you don't know that, and he says, I'm the only one who knows that. So again, he's the only, and he says, I'm the only one with the will to act on it.
Sorry, I didn't watch all the MCU films. I didn't watch all the Avengers films. How did you know?
Huh? No, but no. It's just like, for example, it's like, say if you're again.
It's just foresight.
It was just he just had force, and again, because it's happened to his own planet, he's had the experience of
Okay,
So basically, you never know anything anyway. That's a whole other conversation.
Yeah.
But he thought he knew based on his complex.
Yeah.
But what was his business with Earth?
It was just
Same issue.
no universe. Earth is a part of the universe. Snap. Like you lot are preventing me from doing what I want to do. You lot need to go. But anyway, back to the Joker. This is not MG. Back to the Joker. DC. The thing I love about the Joker again, it's a massive character dissection of what the Joker is and what the Joker represents. And I'm just very the one thing that everyone there's a narrative going around when the movie first came around that it would cause a lot of serial killings, mass shootings, people would be inspired, and it creates and it had the debate of how much does the media we consume have an influence on us. The one thing Joker subtly does to address this debate, no media influenced him to become what he became. Everything that
of his environment.
exactly everything that allowed the Joker to become the Joker was all his interaction with environmental forces, which for me, if you've watched the movie, shuts down the entire notion of the movie inspiring or entertainment, in my opinion, inspiring violence. No, it's down to the individual's interpretation and interaction with that piece of entertainment that incites violence. Nothing for me is nothing for me will inherently inspire violence. Well, no piece of entertainment will inherently inspire violence. For me, it's about how the audience interacts with that piece of entertainment, how the audience take in. Because I remember there was a serial killer, I can't remember, in America, that was inspired by Catcher in the Rye, which is some next book about. It's not about murder. So it's like people.
White guy.
Yeah, I can't.
Bro,
Yeah, no, I don't think it's Dylan Roof, but
that didn't narrow it down. I can't lie.
I know.
There's too many white.
I know there's two. I know, but I can't remember.
Shoes of every race,
I
but
can't
yeah.
remember. But somebody was inspired to kill because of Catcher in the Rye, and it creates this conversation of how much influence does the entertainment we consume have on us. And I like the fact that Joker wasn't like Joker saw a serial killer on TV and said, I want to do that. It's environmental forces and his mental state that allowed him to, tap into that psychotic nature of his. And another thing is that another narrative that's been going on is that this movie kind of trivializes mental health because it says mental health, because if you have mental health issues, you're going to become a serial killer. It's like, no, this is a specific case. The Joker is a specific case.
I was going to say that, like, if you watch Joker films before, if you've read comics, you know that Joker is always going to be a bad guy. You knew that by the end of the film, he was going to be
you knew by the name Joker. Like, you know.
But it's like looking into the process of how he got there. That's what you have to look at. The fact that he got bullied by kids, got beaten up, got fired from his job, got ridiculed.
The system failed him.
Yeah,
The names he was
failed him.
called.
Literally, when he went to therapy, the woman did nothing for him, and his own mum lied to him. What else has it happened?
Even, do you know what's implied in the? Sorry, I keep talking,
Anyways,
but
the point I'm saying is, like, you have to look at how he was treated. You have to look at the things that happened to him that pushed him to the edge. He ended up reacting in a way where he killed people, but the thing is, it can happen to anyone.
Cause and
Anyone can be pushed to
effect.
the edge.
Fam, that's why I hate like these critics that come in, because critics will always be critics at the end of the day. People always gonna play devil advocate. Like, we're out here playing devil's advocate for each other today. But that's why I don't necessarily like a lot of film critics, a lot of critics for games, for example, because for whatever anybody does, there's always going to be a reason. There's always going to be a backstory. But a lot of critics, especially in movies like The Joker, that are focused on the backstory behind the badness, they'll ignore the backstory because they've got a feeling of the end result. They don't like the end result.
Yeah.
But they'll ignore the backstory. But it is a ploy on reality. Like, a lot of people are so willing to ignore things because they don't like the end result, especially critics in certain situations. Like, for example, like when they were saying like Top Boy is glorifying gangs to I understand the view, but I can categorically say that I feel that is incorrect. Because look, how characters ending.
Exactly.
Characters are ending in prison. Characters are ending mentally ill. Characters are ending as crackheads. Like,
Bringing
bro, like,
awareness.
and this is what happens because we're all from areas in London that we know people and we've seen people go through certain things. And bro, I could count to you on a million hands how many people I know that have gone in that have like feared the similar fates to some of the main characters there. So
do you feel like they were pushed as well, the same way, say for example, the Joker was pushed to the edge?
ooh, that's a good question. But yeah, like everybody is pushed by the environment. And I feel like you can add this into you can throw this into the stew as well. Like whether somebody has had to like attain a certain lifestyle due to their financial circumstances or due to their upbringing, or if they felt like they had to follow like a certain guy or a certain character, or they felt like they had to be like that. Because while we all look down on certain men that do stuff for the image, why are they doing stuff for the image? Why are they willing to risk their freedom, risk their life, risk so many things for the image? And I feel like we always focus on they had to be in a trap, be wherever, because they are broke, and eventually one thing led to another. But what about the guys that feel like they've had to do that because they had to attain a certain image? And I feel like that's it. Obviously, we're going on a tangent, but that's all like it all underpins the whole thing of people like kind of feeling like they had to do something because of society, feeling like society pushed them to become some sort of monster or some sort of negative figure.
And definitely, yeah, like obviously it's like closing statements, but I feel like Joker really like put into perspective how important mental health is, and not in a cliche way of check on your friends because you know they might become, no, in the sense that people might be going through it internally. They might be going through it internally, and just if somebody, like I look at the case of Arthur, if somebody was just there to like truly care about him, and not use him for their own benefit and say, "Are you alright? You good?" and actually take him in and show him genuine affection, because that's what he lacked in his life, genuine affection.
Let's not forget the fact that he saved the one guy that was good to him.
Exactly.
He let the one guy that was good to him,
I can't remember.
the politically correct term,
Dwarf.
that. Hey, well,
Hey, bro.
I don't know if
No,
dwarf's
one guy,
politically, yeah, but go on.
No, I think it is dwarf.
Okay.
It's the politically correct term. But the one guy that was nice to him, that was good to him, is the one person that he let walk out of his life like safely.
Yeah, definitely.
Always be that guy, fam.
Just me.
Just me. Been listening
Just
to
me.
motivational speeches recently.
You never know.
You never know,
Fam,
man.
every single one's been telling
You
you,
never
fam,
know.
just be nice to people. Like,
You
go
never
a
know.
long way.
You never know, fam. When he was there fixing his shoe and having lost his sign and people are laughing at him there, did that guy realize he's gonna end up dead because of him? No. You never know how tables will turn.
Exactly.
Mashallah,
But
fam.
final thoughts. What would you lot, if you were to rate the movie out of 10, and your rate the movie out of 10 and your favorite thing about the movie?
You know, for the longest time, just a little tangent, for the longest time, I've been stuck with Heath Ledger's Joker, saying this film is the best film I've seen for a long time. This film's the best film I've seen. This performance is the best performance I've seen. But Joaquin Phoenix,
Fam, Joaquin Phoenix been a good actor, bro.
Joaquin Phoenix is the
being a
truth.
good actor.
solidified it.
What's your favorite Joker? I can't. That for me.
I need time. I
Yeah, I
still
know.
need to
I
process
know.
it. It's still fresh on my mind.
But he's legit.
amazing. Honestly, rate out of 10. Damn, solid 9. I would say, honestly.
Ash, what about you, bro?
You know what? Yeah, because I'm a harsh rater, innit? But when I watch it with my people, then because I feel like I didn't process it as much as I have today, or as much as I had to, when Newman said, "Yeah, talk about Joker today." Yeah, I said 7 because like I feel like there were a few things kind of like left out when they were going on like the whole, because the mental health aspect was a big one for me, because like that stuff's quite kind of important to man. So it was like I kind of thought that there were so much things that they left out, but it's kind of come to me that it's not as like cliche as it would be if they went too in depth on it, because a lot of things where they address mental health it's become cliche. It's like the football argument we're having. It's become run of the mill. It's become like something like societal that has to be like spoken about, that everybody's got to be on side about. But I feel like it didn't touch on that. It didn't touch on the cliche things. It done it in a very subtle way. So I'm gonna have to bump my rating up to at least 8. Let's go 8.
Solid.
Mr. Jigton.
Mr. Jigsaw is awfully quiet today.
Because you guys talk bare.
He's done with
But
the day.
I feel like I had enough to say today, but
Same, bro.
What would you rate it out of 10?
I think I'll say 8. Yeah,
any
probably
reasons?
8. I just like the way it showed how your mind is a movie and you can control it at certain times. So the whole thing with the girl is like he wanted that romance and then he created that in his head and he found out it was real. So it just all leads back to that. Yeah, your mind is a movie and you have to be careful of what you like think and what like you overthink and what you're allowed to come into your system. So like even like how people treat them and everything, even like certain things that people will say to you, you need to remember that if you allow that to what do you call it? If you allow that label to then create you, then it's also gonna fail. Yeah, so I'm just gonna say it's a 9. What did I say? It was an 8, innit?
Yeah, it's an 8, bro.
Yeah, it's an 8.
There's only a handful of films that I've had to, after watching it, want to watch it again and do so much research on it, and this is one of those.
For me, I don't know. Do you know what? As much praise as I've given the movie, there were certain elements that I was like, not iffy on, but I just felt. Do you know what? The whole reveal of the romance being in his head was fine, but even so, I still felt like the romance. I guess I understand in hindsight why it was so like cliched and oh my gosh, he sees me for me, because it was all in his head and that's how you romanticize things in his head. Yeah. But as I was watching the movie, even after I was like, for me,
With that scene,
you could have taken out that entire romantic segment, even with the ending of it being a dream. You could have taken that all out, and I still would have enjoyed the movie for what it is. Because for me, that just felt like extra. It felt
Needs
like
to be in there because every movie's got romance.
yeah,
so let's put
it
in.
felt extra. It's
Yeah,
like the
yeah.
core storyline for me is his relationship with his.
he needed validation in every sector of his life, including his love.
But I
And it
do
was a
feel
good
like it was
twist.
extra though. I do feel like yeah.
It
was-
was even saying during the film like this relationship doesn't make no sense.
Yeah.
And then we realized.
So I was like, even I understand the necessity of it being there, but it's like for me, you could have taken it out. Like for me, it's like I look at things like if you take it out, how does it affect the story? For me, if you take that out, the core story of him being abused by his mother, him seeking validation in the workplace still remains, and his transformation to the Joker isn't altered in any way, shape, or form. So for me, that part is a bit of a but other than that, I feel that this movie is phenomenal. Personally, for me, Heath will still forever be my Joker. However, but I'm not gonna argue anybody who says Joaquin Phoenix is their Joker, because his performance as Arthur Fleck into the Joker is brilliant. And one thing I do like is it feels like this, even though they're completely different universes, completely different movies, it feels like this Joker and previous interpretations of the Joker are still the same. The core of the Joker still remains within most interpretations of the Joker. That's why I hated Suicide Squad one, but we're not going to talk about that.
Oh, Jared Leto.
Yeah, I hated that one.
He was terrible.
Terrible. But anyway,
You got dealt a bad hand though. Jared Leto got dealt a bad hand.
yeah, the script for that movie. He's a good actor.
Yeah, very good actor. That one on him. He got dealt a
But
bad
I'd
hand.
rate it probably. I was gonna say 8.5 now. Let me be honest. A 9 out of 10. That movie is a solid 9 out of 10.
Can I also touch on before we end? Some of the scenic shots in that film, like, were
Yeah,
very good.
amazing.
Like when you were talking about the girl, it reminded me of the one, like, you know, when he follows her, like, I don't know why it's stuck with me, but you know, when he follows her into her workplace,
Yeah.
it's all like a big, like, scenic, like, not necessarily bird's eye, but quite a long shot, yeah, of him, like, following her into her workplace. For some reason, that kind of helped me, like, dissect. It kind of foreshadowed so well that this whole romance is weird, not right, fake.
Yeah.
Because the way you just saw him, because he's a very
Yeah.
awkward character, the way you just saw his awkward walk following her, and like, you could tell something worked straight.
Even
so-
the fact that she was like, "Did you follow me?" He's like, "Yeah," and he's like, and she's okay with it. I was like,
You know, it's mad. You don't know what's real and what's not in that film. You
I
don't
know.
know what's in his head and what's not in his
I
head.
know,
I don't
I
even know
know.
if they even met like that.
I know they.
It's good that you got to understand both
exactly,
perspectives. though.
exactly.
Yeah, I like
Yeah.
it.
But Ashton, bro, it's been a pleasure to have you on
Yeah,
today.
love you, man.
Literally, we will plug your socials down below. Again,
the screen too.
on the screen.
For the audio listeners, this will be in the description.
Spell it right, you man. Spell it right.
No, we'll spell it right. But make sure, you know, guys, keep sharing, keep liking, hit that subscribe button, please. We appreciate the support. We're loving the support we've been getting recently, man. So definitely, man, this has been the Rare Podcast. We're signing out. Peace, deuces. Catch you on the next one.
Y'all niggas got me hot.